A lot of people say they want to reinvent themselves, like new career, new body, new identity, but most of them won't. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack talent, and definitely not because they didn't have access to information. In fact, information is abundant now. They will fail because of a few specific mindsets that feel so reasonable, so sensible that they never even question them. And one of these mindsets is so quiet, so invisible that you can hold it for a decade before you even realize it stole the best years of your life. And I'll get to that one last because it only hits hard once you see how it connects to everything else. Let's start. The first one is I need to feel ready. That sounds mature. It sounds responsible, like the smart thing to say before making any big move, right? But think about what you're actually saying. You're saying you need to feel like a person you've never been before you can become that person. That's not preparation. That's a paradox. Just think about it. You won't feel ready to start the business. You won't feel ready to post even the first video. You won't feel ready to apply for the role that you're not qualified for yet. You won't feel ready to rebuild your habits from scratch. I kept telling myself this during my first real transition, just a few more weeks. Let me learn a little more, then I'll start. And nothing changed in those weeks except for my anxiety that got louder. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is a receipt. You only get it after you've paid with effort. And the payment starts before you're ready. That's the whole point. But let's say you pushed past that. You accept that readiness is a myth. And now what? This is where the next trap opens up, and honestly I think it catches more intelligent people than any other. That is, I need clarity before I move. It feels strategic and it feels like you're being thoughtful, like you are the smart one who is not rushing in. But clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from contact with reality. You don't figure out who you want to become by sitting in your room and analyzing all your options. You figure it out by trying things and paying attention to what the experience tells you. You launch the thing, you take the class, you build a prototype, you write the article, and then reality gives you feedback. That feedback is clarity. People want a full map before they take the first step, but a map gets drawn as you walk. And if you refuse to move until you can see the entire route, you stand at the starting line forever, mistaking hesitation for strategy. Now here's where it starts to get personal, because even if you beat the first two traps and if you start moving without full readiness or full clarity, something else shows up that can stop you cold. Other people's opinions. Like, you spent years building that career, now you want to switch. Aren't you too old to be starting over? That sounds risky. Why can't you just be grateful for what you have? If you change, people will judge you. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. If you start going to the gym seriously, someone will say you are obsessed. If you start building something online, someone would say you are delusional. If you leave your current path, someone will say you are irresponsible. But here's what I want you to notice. If you stay, people will also judge you. They would say you're wasting your potential. They would say things like you've settled. They'll whisper that you played it too safe. You cannot escape judgment. You can only choose which version of yourself receive it. The one who stayed comfortable or the one who was building something. So the real question isn't, will people judge me? The real question is, which criticism can you actually live with? So you push past the readiness fear, you push past the clarity trap, you accept the judgment, and then you hit a wall that feels completely different from all of those. But it's actually the most misunderstood one on this entire list. That is, I would change when I'm more disciplined. And the truth is, no, you won't. And here's why. If your phone is in your hand 5 hours a day, if your sleep is chaotic, and if you are constantly stimulated from the moment you wake up to the moment you close your eyes, you don't have a discipline problem. You have an environment problem. Your brain in itself is an input processing machine, and right now the input channel is flooded, like notifications, short form content, noise, outrage, entertainment on demand. Your nervous system is running at capacity before you even try to do the hard thing. Reinvention requires mental bandwidth, and bandwidth requires space. So you can't install a new operating system while you have 100 programs running on the background. When I went through the most serious shift in my life, the biggest change wasn't a brand new vision. It was subtracting, like less scrolling, less random consumption, more silence, more space to actually think. Discipline doesn't come from willpower. It grows in quiet environments, and if your environment is chaotic, no amount of motivation will save you. Fix the environment first. Alright, so now we're getting deeper, because there's a trap that shows up specifically when you've built enough courage to actually commit, and it's seductive because it feels like conviction, and that is, I need to burn everything down to start fresh. Quit the job, move cities, delete the old life, announce the new era on social media. This is the dramatic reinvention fantasy, and I get it. There is something emotionally satisfying about the clean break, right? But most reinvention doesn't work that way. Most reinvention is just a matter of stacking and not burning things apart. It's building the new thing quietly while nobody is watching. It's like practicing before you announce. It's compounding small identity shifts day after day until one morning the people around you realize that you're not the same person anymore. For example, my journey from pharmacy to software engineering started while I was still working full-time. I was writing code after hospital hours, teaching digital skills on weekends, selling software I built in my free time, and none of it was dramatic. Most of it was invincible. And if your reinvention feels slow right now, that's not failure. That's the compound effect doing what it does. Boring before it's impressive. But here's what I really want you to sit with. Because underneath every single mindset that I've just described, there's a deeper pattern running the show. This is who I am. Like, I'm not disciplined, I'm not confident, I'm not creative, I'm not good at money, I've always been this way. That's what you tell yourself. That last sentence might be the most dangerous thing you can say about yourself, because it takes a pattern you've practiced and turns it into a permanent identity. You're not bad at discipline. You've practiced distraction, and you're not confident. You've just practiced hesitation. You're not a creative person. You've just never built the evidence to prove otherwise. I told myself for years that I wasn't a writer, and I had evidence. Like, I scored lower in every reading heavy subject in school. Every essay felt like a fight. So I built a clean, logical story. Writing isn't for me. But the evidence didn't mean what I thought it meant. It didn't mean I lacked the ability. It meant I'd never deliberately practiced the skill. And when I finally did, that story collapsed. Now writing is the foundation of everything I build. Your identity isn't a fact. It's software, and software can be updated, but only if you stop treating the current version as a permanent version. And here's the part most people miss. Every mindset I've talked about in this video, the readiness trap, the clarity trap, the fear of judgment, the discipline illusion, and all or none fantasy, they are all being generated by the same source. Your current identity is producing thoughts that protect itself from being changed. It's not 6 separate problems. It's one system running 6 different defense programs. Which brings me to the one that I said I'd come back to. The mindset that cost me more than any wrong decision ever did. The one that's more dangerous than every other mindset on the list combined, because it creates 0 friction, 0 discomfort, and 0 agency. And that is, I have time. You tell yourself you will start next year, or when things calm down at work, or when you feel less tired, or when the timing is better, or when you get more time and nothing bad happens. That's the trap. You're not dramatically worse off, you're just slightly misaligned, and that slight misalignment compounds silently like a crack in a foundation that you don't notice until the wall begins to shift. I held this mindset for years. I'd get serious about coding eventually when I have time. And technically I did, but every year I delayed was a year of evidence I didn't generate, a year of proof that I didn't build, and a year of momentum that I missed. Every other mindset on this list at least creates visible friction. You feel the fear, you feel the resistance, you feel the judgment, but I have time creates no friction at all. It just quietly narrows your window while whispering that it's still wide open. 5 years pass, 10 years pass, you don't hate your life, but you know quietly that you could have been somewhere else by now. And reinvention is uncomfortable. It disrupts your routine, it threatens your identity, it exposes your gaps. But staying the same slowly erodes something that's much harder to rebuild than a career, which is your self-respect. And that erosion doesn't announce itself. It just shows up one day as a quiet regret that you can't quite explain. So, you don't reinvent your life by finding the perfect plan. You reinvent it by seeing the patterns that have been keeping you in place. Patterns that feel like wisdom but function like walls. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop demanding clarity before action. You accept that judgment is the cost of growth. You fix your environment before blaming your character. And you stack instead of bend. You stop treating your identity as fixed. And above all, you stop telling yourself that you have unlimited time. If even one of these mindsets made you flinch while I was talking about it, pay attention to that. That flinch is awareness, and awareness is usually the first crack in the old identity. And that crack is where reinvention starts. My question to you now is, which of these mindsets are you currently battling with? Go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I would respond to you and give you some guidance on how to handle it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next video.